What's up guys, it's Scoopman 5000. Today we're back for another action figure review, rolling right along here with the McFarlane Dark Knight's Metal. This is Batman Earth -44, the Murder Machine. Obviously being the cyborg parallel of Batman from Dark Knight's Metal, and this is just getting us further along in completing that metal team, and what we get here is a real cool design, reminiscent of Cyborg, reminiscent of Iron Man, Batman Beyond. Overall just a very striking, cool looking suit for Batman. And the packaging here is the same thing we've been getting with all the Multiverse figures from McFarlane. You get a nice big window, everything you're getting with the figure. On one side it's Batman Earth -44 with a window. On the other side you get it with some larger text and it says Dark Knight's Metal. And then on the back you get an awesome cover artwork and the other characters in McFarlane's line, Wonder Woman 84 and Batman White Knight figures. Here's the barcode on the bottom. These guys are hitting Walmart right now. And with packaging out of the way, let's get to it and bust open the Murder Machine. So out of the box, you can't have a Multiverse figure without the figure stand, the DC logo on it. And then you also do get the trading card. And I love the trading card. I'll say it every single time. We get a cover art of the character. And then on the back, you get the bio. And this Batman is interesting. So what he is, he's actually not evil in the sense that a lot of the other Dark Knights are. He's instead of Batman where Alfred was killed, and he works together with Cyborg to create an AI where Alfred is kind of like a Jarvis, I guess. But in a similar situation, that Alfred AI becomes more of an Ultron, kills everyone that it deems even the slightest threat to Batman, and Cyborg disagrees with it, so Cyborg gets killed. And eventually all these Ultron drone-like Alfreds surround Bruce Wayne, and that's kind of how the origin of the Murder Machine started. And then the world ends in Batman Who Last recruits him. And then included with the Murder Machine also is blistered in this kind of tendril electronic piece that attaches to his hand, or it's actually an interchangeable hand, I guess you could say. And so it's just kind of technology that he can generate and go in and attack different technology, stuff like that. It's a good accessory, similar in vein to that Green Lantern Dawnbreaker accessory. And then that leaves us with the Murder Machine himself. And like all these Dark Knight's Metal, it's like they made the design first and then the backstory, because it's such awesome, striking visual designs. But there's almost a bit of Batman Beyond here, a bit of Iron Man in here especially. So it's not quite a cyborg design, I would say. It's just a cybernetic version of Batman, more or less. But very cool. The colors here are very interesting. You get like some red-orange on the shoulders and on the logo, and then the rest of them has some blue piping in between. And I don't know how well it's going to show on camera, but he doesn't seem to be like a flat black. He's almost more of a gunmetal color, which is pretty neat. And it's all uniform, all the plastic looks the same together. But we'll go ahead and take a closer look at him. And like I said, with the Dawnbreaker, it seems like every time they make a Batman cowl, it gets better. With their first one, you could see it was like a bit small for the head. The details weren't too great, kind of had weird shape. But here it's much more, you know, in scale with the body proportionally, and it looks great overall. It's hard to see, but there's an orange piece underneath the helmet, which gives you that effect of those orange-red vibrant eyes. The shoulder pads here are a softer rubber, and they're attached up at the top of the shoulders, kind of at the trap, so that way when you do the articulation, it's not going to get in the way at all. It's going to get out of the way, and it looks natural when it's in that position, so that's great. The logo on the chest here looks a little crooked, but it's not that bad. It still looks very clean. There's like a Batman logo with a gear around it to represent Cyborg's logo. And then you have this blue piping going up the chest, around the body, down into the legs. And on the artwork here, it's kind of a glowing effect. So that's basically what we got here, is some glowing neon, almost lights here. So Batman, the Murder Machine, is almost like a RGB computer or something like that. He's got to look good while he's killing people. But the rest of him, like I said, he's almost a gunmetal. He's a bit speckled looking, and that's great for a character like this. He does look like he's made of metal. And the only place where the plastic looks a little bit different is in this crotch piece, because obviously with the McFarlane style, they're done with a softer rubber. So it's just a bit more dull than the rest of the figure, but honestly not that much. And similar to the Devastator, there's almost too much detail to even go over, because every single inch of this guy is just done, teched out, geometric shapes, and all sorts of textures going on. So you could see the chest here, down into kind of where the abs would be, but they're more in these kind of cylinders. Down into the legs, it almost looks like muscle fibers, but done in a robotic style. You can see where these big muscles would be are still there, but obviously more angular and more lines and more details going through than a normal human body. And this is even a figure where you have the pins for the articulation, and it doesn't even look that bad because he is a cyborg. That's about where the pins would be on a robot person if that were to exist. You can see there's even one up here that kind of matches the pins. So that's very creative of them to do. And then a better look at the arms here, just awesome details going on. The gauntlets as well, you get more of that blue LED kind of look. For the hands, you got one that is a gripping hand, and then the other one here is like a total Iron Man repulsor. You could see the little circle in there for the beams. And I love the shape of the hand here. It's a very dynamic shape and it looks great overall. It looks like he's about to go and just take someone over calmly as a robot. And then you can't forget about the back of this character here, because it's almost more detailed than the front of him. You got this kind of spine going down here. This looks almost exposed back here. You can see all the inner machinations of them. Here the shoulder blades are highlighted in that neon blue, as well as on the bottom, I guess these would be kind of the blasts where he could fly around. Those are at the back of his calves here. And overall, just some great details on this guy. Now we'll go over articulation, and it's the same that we've been getting with McFarlane, but they've been getting better. This is honestly very good. I'd say my least favorite point of articulation here is the head, because when you go to look back, it's not terrible, but I do wish there was a hinge there as well, because for a flying character, you want them to be kind of looking out straight. And you can kind of accomplish that with the torso a little bit if you were to position it a certain way. And I guess it depends on how you display them. Like, that doesn't look bad, but it would be nice if the head was on a hinge so we could get him to look up a bit more. It's the standard dumbbell on the head and also at the bottom of the neck, but with that, he's still going to tilt. For the torso, again, ball joint, so it goes back decently, goes forward, and when you combine it with the ball joint at the hips, he's going all the way forward and all the way back. So very good articulation in that regard. And you can see that this rubber crotch piece kind of hides the seam that would be created here. The shoulders, like I said, they have these shoulder pads, but they don't get in the way. There is a butterfly joint here. It's not the most usable. You can see there's even some detail there, but it's still appreciated. You also get the standard hinge and swivel at the shoulder. You get the upper bicep cut, which is a bit hard to use because of the sculpt. You get a double jointed elbow that's going all the way, punching himself in the face. And then you get the ball hinges at the wrist. For the legs, it's normal McFarlane style. So you get the rotation here, a bit tough to use. Then you get the splits. You go back, you go forward. It's all done with those joints there. And then double jointed knee is almost going all the way back. That's pretty impressive still. And then those same ball hinges are at the feet. And then you do get the toe hinge. And that does it for the Murder Machine. So now we'll go ahead and do some comparisons. And here's the Murder Machine with the two Wave 1 Batmans. We got the Detective Comics 1000 and the blue variant of Batman the Animated Series. And again, the scale is getting better. All these Batmans stand around the same height. And then for some other Batmans, we have the White Knight and then the Batman Who Laughs. Here's the two we've already taken a look at from this wave. We got the Devastator and the Dawnbreaker. And now that I look at it more, the Devastator is, I guess, appropriately taller, but again, I just wish he was just a little bit bigger. And then for some Mattel DC figures appropriately, here's Alfred, and then also the Justice League movie Cyborg. And I don't hate the scale of Alfred here. I think he definitely works with these McFarlanes. And I got nothing to say about that Cyborg figure because it's probably one of the worst figures that I own. And overall, that's going to do it for the Murder Machine. I went ahead and stole the flight stand off the Dawnbreaker just to get this look. And I might need to pick up another DC character with a flight stand because I really like how this looks, and it's going to look real dynamic once you have all the metal knights together. So overall, like with the Devastator, like with the Dawnbreaker, you're getting unmatched sculpt work here, and paint for that matter, with these McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. And honestly, this Dark Knight's Metal Wave, it might be because I love the source material, but it might be my favorite set of figures from McFarlane so far. Tomorrow we're going to be finishing off the wave with the Grim Knight, who's not technically part of Dark Knight's Metal, but he's definitely adjacent to it. But honestly, all four of the figures are just killer knockout figures. And if you're any kind of Batman fan, if you've read Dark Knight's Metal, you gotta owe it to yourself to pick these figures up. I'm going to be posting some figure photography of this guy and a lot of other figures over at Instagram, Scoopman_5000. And if you like other action figure reviews, DC, Multiverse, and other, you want to stay right here on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.